Welcome. Today's guest is Mandy McEwen. Mandy is the founder of Mod Girl Marketing, which she started back in 2010, and Luminetics, where she helps B2B teams turn LinkedIn into a real consistent pipeline through human first systems and AI powered strategies. She's been in the LinkedIn trenches since way before it was the thing and has trained thousands of professionals and worked with companies like T-Mobile, Brinks, Continental. Mandy, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the beginning because you've built across multiple layers, from running Mod Girl Marketing, which you founded 16 years ago, to now leading Luminetics and developing AI powered systems. So I'm curious, when you look at that journey as one continuous build, what's been the through line in how you think about growth and revenue?
Oh, girl, that's a loaded question. I would say it's all about it's a combination of what I like doing, what I'm good at, and what the market needs. That's why we continually pivot and we launch new offers, even new brands. And so it's that intersection of what am I really good at that lights me up, that keeps me excited for this crazy life that I decided to live. And also is there's a massive need for it, and that people are willing to pay what I'm worth to get that thing that we are great at, right? But that's always changing, especially with the AI era that we live in now. So it's a never-ending journey of pivoting, launching, iterating, figuring out what's working, what isn't. It's not the easiest job in the world. It's not like you can just say, hey, this is the one thing that we're going to do for 10 years and it's not going to change. It doesn't work that way in this in this world I live in.
Ooh, I love that question. And you've been building on LinkedIn since 2015, before personal branding and social selling were even mainstream. And you've seen it evolve from organic reach, gold mine, to a much more saturated, system driven channel. So when you look at how people are showing up today, what feels fundamentally misunderstood about how LinkedIn now drives pipeline?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, we've got two schools of thought basically when it comes to old school LinkedIn. And one of them is it's just for job seekers, right? And it's to get a job. And the other is I'm just going to treat it like cold email and blast everyone and their mom with the same messages. And as you know, that doesn't work so well.
Yeah.
And so what's, severely missing and what I help people do is build, and I know this word is so kind of like cringy and overused, but it's true, like authentic, right? Like authenticity. But it's like build an authentic brand that's you, where it's not just you publicly, where you're, showcasing who you are and your skills, your expertise, but the human behind it, but also behind the scenes. Like, how are you talking to people? How are you building relationships? Like, are you selfish? Are you just in it for yourself and to try to get responses and sales? Or are you genuinely building relationships with cool people and offering to help, And so the bar is really low right now for that, because people are lazy and because of AI and automation. We all just want to click a button and have leads just come to us without doing the hard work. But I also feel like that hard work is rewarding. Like, I have some of my best friends and now a business partner because of LinkedIn that I know I will be friends with for the rest of my life, And so for me, it goes far beyond just business, obviously we're all in this to make money and revenue. And that's why we use, as business owners and sellers, that's why we use social media for social selling. But it goes a lot deeper than that too when it comes to genuine relationships that are also profitable, because guess what, the more real relationships you have, the more opportunities you're going to have, because people are going to think of you.
Ooh,
And I think that's what's lacking.
I love that. That's a really sharp way to frame it. And I love what you said about authenticity. It can be cringy, but there's nothing like a connection, like an authentic connection.
Exactly. Yeah. And people just, they're not taking the time to do that, and even commenting, people are being lazy with comments and now want AI to be commenting for them. And it's so obvious when it's not a human, commenting and sending messages. And now we're to the point where we're like, I kind of want to use typos and weird words and weird spelling just to make it look like we're not AI, like that's sad, but it's the world we live in.
Oh my God, crazy times. Crazy,
Yes, it
crazy
is.
times when we're turning to, spelling mistakes.
Yes, just to not look like a robot.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like continuing on this, you've also said cold outreach isn't like working the way it used to, and that visibility and trust are now like driving the pipeline. So inside the companies you work with, where do you see the biggest disconnect, between how they're still operating and how buyers are making decisions today?
Yeah, the biggest disconnect is, first of all, the number of touch points required and the number of personalization when it comes to those touch points, right? So, actually looking at what's happening, sending videos and voice notes that show people that you actually did your homework. Because the old school mentality is we're just going to load up a bunch of people on a list, even if it's LinkedIn, you've got Sales Navigator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Email, phone, and we're just going to blast them and see who responds, and so now the way buyers are buying it, there's a lot of factors that go into this. It's timing. Like cold outreach still works, right? Like don't get me wrong, it still works when done right, and it's all about timing. But people are going to their peers, they're going to LinkedIn, they're researching, they're going to AI. Like I just got back from a speaking gig in Detroit, Michigan, and they found me in ChatGPT. Okay. So like the way people are doing research and buying is completely different now than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of layers. It's very complex. We have zero click marketing now, that Rand Fishkin talks about at Spark Toro, which is basically like we are not clicking as much when we do research, like we're going to Google now. Google has the AI answers at the top. We're going to ChatGPT. We're going to Claude. We're going to social media. We're asking our friends. So the key too is like you kind of need to be where your buyers are and you need to be providing value.
Yeah.
Because if they don't know who you are, you're also hurting your chances. And so I'm like, I'm a big fan of pick up the phone, use email, but use LinkedIn too. Use all of them at your disposal. And then when they research you, your executives, if you're a seller or a small business founder like myself, like you're going to look legit when they do their research because they see you. They see your content. They see you on LinkedIn. They see that you know your stuff, right? And that's is the missing piece with a lot of these people, especially the old school companies, is like, you just look like everyone else right now.
Yeah.
And the good thing with the old school brands is they have the brand name going for them, of course, right? But these other companies that no one has heard of, they don't have that luxury of a T-Mobile. Like they can't get behind their name. Like you actually have to try and show that you know your stuff. And so that's the world that we're living in right now. It's not nearly as simple as it was when I started off my digital marketing career in 2007, actually, before I started my company. Things were really, really simple back then. Now, not so much. Their buyers are going literally everywhere doing their research.
And I saw this on your LinkedIn when I was stalking you before this. And I thought it was crazy that you mentioned landing a speaking opportunity through Chat GTP, which like means your LinkedIn presence is now influencing how you're, surface beyond the platform. So like, how do you think, how has that changed how you think about content as a long-term asset?
Yeah, good question, because now I'm getting back to posting LinkedIn articles. It's on my list. So long form content, so there's studies out that say LinkedIn is now the number one cited business source for these LLMs, right? For the ChatGPTs, the Geminis, et cetera. Now, and when I say that, I mean business searches, right? Mm-hmm. So Reddit's like up there with general searches, including business, but LinkedIn is now at the top for that. And what they're looking at is relevant context and someone who talks about basically the same thing over and over again in different ways, right? So if you sell Nikes, but you're talking about selling restaurant equipment half the time, you're going to confuse people, not just people, but the algorithms and everything that is feeding these AI engines, right? So it's about consistency over time with very similar topics, and then using those words and those phrases, et cetera, throughout, and posting valuable content. And the longer form content is getting picked up, right? So taking those articles, making long form articles, you can use AI to help you with this, obviously, to nail your voice and then edit please, to make it sound more human. But then you can post those on your blog too. You can have your own blog on your website, and then you can have it on LinkedIn, right? So how we're thinking about this now is like, damn, we got to get going back on this long form content, because before it was like, oh, you have your LinkedIn post. It's mainly for your LinkedIn audience. We repurpose a lot on other socials, sometimes blogs, and then it just goes away. And now we're like, it's not going away. Like, it's getting picked up by everything now, which is pretty amazing. So this is actually a service we're providing now for CEOs and executives, is done for you personal branding with this long form content, because it goes far beyond LinkedIn now. Like, LinkedIn can help you be seen everywhere, especially in the AI engines, so everything feeds each other, which is pretty cool, because that means that our work is lasting longer, which is awesome.
Oh my God, that's a cool way to see it. And you've said that clarity beats clever, especially in a space where people are trying to stand out. So when someone is like over optimizing for cleverness in their content or messaging, what tends to quietly break in their ability to build trust and convert?
Yeah. So they might get visibility,
Mhm.
and something could go viral, here and there. But if you are trying too hard to go viral or to be clever, then you're just not getting the trust that you want, right? As a thought leader in the industry. So people are wanting help. They want someone to tell them what to do, like, hey, think of it this way, or a new way of thinking, right? So there's always room for, let's just see what I can get on this, and I want to be clever and
Yeah.
cheeky and fun. Like, that's totally fine. I encourage that every now and then, but you can't base your whole strategy on that, like, you really need to be seen as an expert in whatever it is that you're an expert in, and really help people. Because when you help people, then they see you as someone who I want to keep learning from and following, because wow, they just taught me something that I didn't know, and I just learned something. So why would I not keep following that person?
Yeah.
And then they're going to be more apt to engage with you, and vice versa. So, there's always a time and a place for being clever and witty and fun just for the sake of it, but that's not, at the end of the day, not going to drive all your
Yeah, that makes a lot
traffic
of
and revenue.
sense. And you know that step turn repeat framework you have shared, no straight line, no instant payoff. So in your experience working with like founders and sales teams, where does that rhythm usually fall apart, even for people who are showing up consistently?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It falls apart when they get frustrated that they're not seeing results, because this stuff takes time. It's not something that you can just, like, in 1 week. I mean, we have had a lot of people actually see results in 1 week, but not typical,
Mhm.
and it's usually people that go from doing nothing to actually doing something, and being strategic about it. So the biggest thing though I see is just people aren't consistent and they don't stick it out long enough. And so they get frustrated and they just stop. Um, and they're doing it in a way that's not, either they're not targeting the right people, not targeting enough people, or their messaging is off. It's usually one or the other: volume, ICP, or just the wrong messaging. It's not resonating, So this really is like an iterative process. Like, you have to figure out what's working, what isn't, and you have to try new things when it comes to content, when it comes to outreach. Switch it up, send videos, send voice notes, post different things, post videos, post infographics, post carousels, post text only, and it does take energy and brain power and effort. And that's where it falls apart, is because people don't want to put in the effort.
Oh my God, that's a good advice. And you have trained thousands of professionals through modern social seller and worked across both founders and full sales teams. So when someone does start seeing traction early, what are they doing differently in how they think about LinkedIn versus just how they use it?
Yeah, good question. What they're doing differently is, like I just mentioned, they're consistent. That's the biggest thing, is just consistency. Like, every day they're doing this, and they're dialed in. They put it on their calendar. So, like, when I'm training teams and even solopreneurs, we have like a time blocking module in my curriculum and my courses. And I'm like, put it, if it's a video, and then, like, here's how I do it. Like, it's really simple: 10 minutes on your calendar, comment. 15 minutes responding to messages, 15 minutes sending connection requests, right? So I have like a 45-minute daily rhythm, but you can chop it up however you want. But if you literally put it on your calendar to where it's not blocking like people booking sales calls with you, obviously, then it actually gets done. And that's the biggest thing of people that succeed right out of the gate that I train and those that don't. And they're excited about it too. That's the biggest thing too, is like if you're excited about it and you start seeing some early wins because you're consistent, you're going to want to keep it up, you know?
Absolutely.
And they're just open to something new. A lot of people that I train, they might be a little more old school. So this is out of their comfort zone, which I totally get. Like if you're used to doing something one way for 20 years, and then I come in there and they're like, who is this chick telling me to use this tool? I don't like social media. Like, nah, I don't want to do that, you know? So there's a lot of resistance for those people that are veterans that have been doing sales for a hot minute, you know? And so those people take a little bit longer to get warmed up because it's not part of who, you know, they didn't grow up on social media. They're not a fan of social media. They think that LinkedIn is just like any other social media network. And then once they realize like, hey, this is actually a really great place to have better relationships with our customers that we already have. And it's not like Facebook. It's not like Instagram. It really is a relationship first network, which is something that none of those other ones can say, you know.
Yeah.
Then they start seeing the power, but it's like you have to like get past the whole posting part of it. Like, I don't want to post selfie. Like, what? I don't need to post a selfie on LinkedIn, you know? But then when they say like, oh, my people are on here that I've known for 30 years, you know, like this is an easy way to reach them. And then they start seeing the power in this, take away the posting personal branding side of it, the relationship building piece. You know, when they start seeing that click, they're like, okay, maybe I can do this.
I love that. And like through everything you've built, you know, agency, training, now AI powered GTM systems, like you've essentially productized a way to turn LinkedIn into a pipeline. So which part of that journey tends to be the hardest for teams to operationalize consistently?
Yeah. The making them part of your daily habit, making it part of your daily system. That's the hardest part, you know, especially for bigger teams because they have tools and systems and frameworks they're already using. So for them to adopt something new ish and make it part of their daily schedule, no matter what, that's the toughest part, you know, is like, you guys are used to doing this from 8 to 5. Now you're going to have to add this one layer in there and it needs to be done consistently every single day. That's tough. That's the toughest part of this, is just getting into the habit of making it a non-negotiable part of your day, just like brushing your teeth, you know, like it has to be part of your daily schedule. And that's the biggest, I would say, challenge for
And it's
sales
crazy
teams.
because at the same time, like it sounds so easy, you know, just like adding it to taking 20 minutes off your day to just like comment and interact and
Yeah.
post. It's like it seems so simple. So it's like such a like is dichotomy. I don't know if that's the word or the right word, but you know, like it's so easy, but it's still the hardest part, you know?
Yeah,
Easy.
I know. And I think it's just because people aren't used to it. It's like humans are creature of habit, you know, we're creatures of habit. So if it's not something that you're used to, it just kind of falls off. You
Yeah.
know, they're used to picking up the phone, and sellers in particular, like they've got a lot of pressure on them, right?
Yeah.
And then you got founders, small business founders like myself, and we're just juggling a million freaking jobs. And so if you don't put it on your calendar, it's really not going to get done because you're literally every role in a company. You're wearing all the hats. And so we're just overwhelmed as it is. But for us, as you know, we are the ones doing everything, right? We're hunting, we're farming, we're closing. We don't really have a choice. So when I train founders and solopreneurs, they're more apt to adopt it quicker because we are killing what we're eating. Like we have to put food on the table ourselves. We can't rely on a W-2 salary like
Yeah.
teams that I'm training, right? So it's a little bit different mindset because these sellers are like, I'm getting paid regardless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm still making money. This is going to make my job easier and probably make me more money, but I'm still getting a paycheck. Where small business founders and solopreneurs are like, no one's paying me but myself.
Yeah.
So I have to figure this out, you know? And that's the difference. And it's like, it's the same curriculum. Like literally we have our Next Wave membership for solopreneurs using the modern social seller curriculum with our AI GTM systems. And then we have the teams and it's the same curriculum. It's just different in how they use it and how quickly they adopt it. you know?
Yeah.
And it's because of those reasons. So it's like a lot of times, and I hate to say this, but a lot of times the sellers that are the hustlers out of the gate, they're the younger ones because they see the power in social media. So it's usually the younger ones that are like, they grew up on social media. It's easy for them. They get it. And
Hmm.
then they learn LinkedIn, which is not Instagram and it's not TikTok, but they know those well. And then they learn, oh, this is how to use LinkedIn. And then they just run with it and they're excited, right? So it's the younger reps that I train that are the fastest to adopt it. And then I'm not saying that's only them, there's exceptions to that, but it's usually the ones that have been stuck on their own ways for 20 plus years that take a little bit longer. Some of them run with it and take off, but and also younger people are just, they're they're hungrier too because
Yeah.
they're in their early career,
Really.
so they're ready to go, they're hungry, they want to make money, so it's a completely different mentality.
Yeah.
And so you've got every walk of life that I'm training and trying to help with this, and it's really interesting to see how people
That's so interesting.
adopt it or they don't. you know
That's very curious. And like you've been very clear that LinkedIn is powerful, but still rented land, which I
Mhm.
loved. And while email is owned, so
Yep.
inside your own business, how do you intentionally move from attention to something that you fully control?
Yeah, good question. So, this is for everyone really listening. My favorite way to do that is to have really powerful lead magnets where you are offering something valuable in exchange for an email, right? So, and you put those everywhere, on your LinkedIn profile and your bio on any social channel, even Instagram, and in your content, you talk about those, right? So, you provide value, and at the end of it, hey, by the way, if you found this valuable, I built a free AI tool that will give you a customized personal strategy in 5 minutes for your LinkedIn, you know?
Mm.
And so I have a custom GPT that I built that answers a series of questions, and it literally will do that. It will spit out a custom social selling and personal branding plan for your LinkedIn profile specifically for you and your target audience in less than 5 minutes. All right. So I try to pair what is something valuable that I know people will enjoy and appreciate with my content, and then I get them in my email list, right? And then we send them newsletters, et cetera, et cetera. So experiment with different types of lead magnets. It could even be like a one-page checklist that you put on Google Docs, right? There's so many different ways you can do this that doesn't take a lot of energy and time, and AI can help you. But that's my biggest tip is find something that's uber valuable for people that's kind of like a shortcut, a cheat sheet, something, gate it with an email, and then try to get people on your email list that way. Also, newsletters are crushing it right now too. Beehive, Substack, whatever, outside of like your own email software, like we use Active Campaign, right? So newsletters are also then in themselves, like AI newsletters are hot right now. People are sharing the latest AI news, AI tools, whatever they're finding. So that's another thing. Like you could just have an epic newsletter too,
Yeah.
and you could try that. But always try to get people on an email list because you never know what's going to happen with these social channels. I'm sure nothing, but or your profile. Like, who knows? Maybe someone could hack your profile and it goes down for 2 weeks. Like, that's happened before too, you know?
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not using automation, like, I've had plenty of people that are like, their accounts got hacked and stuff went crazy and they lost access for 2 weeks. Like, you never know what could happen.
Yeah, you never know. And to close, I wanted to close with a more reflective question. Like you have built across agency systems, now AI powered GTM. So if someone's been listening to this and knows they need to show up differently, what's the one shift they should make this week that would actually change their trajectory?
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that question. That's a good one. I would say the one shift, which is really easy for anyone to do, and it doesn't have anything to do with content, is literally making a list of the exact customers you want to work with and reaching out to 10 of them a day on LinkedIn. Really,
Ooh,
really simple. So go to their profiles. If they're posting content, go and engage with their content first. So like it, comment, and then send a connection request and mention whatever it is that you enjoyed. And then start the relationship. Like just get in front of your people every single day. And that's something that most people are not doing. And even the ones that like content, they think content's going to be the magic bullet. It's not. You have to build relationships. So add 10 people a day that fit your ICP that you want to get and your network that you potentially want to sell to or even partner with as a referral partner. And you, at the end of the week, if you do it Monday through Friday, you've got 50 new prospects on your LinkedIn.
Ooh, that's great advice. I'm going to do it like today.
Okay, girl, get after it.
Oh my God, you are such a boss, Mandy. Like, you have a very special
girl.
energy to you, which honestly makes conversations like this so fun and valuable. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Of
Thank you.
course, I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest, and to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.